First of all, thank you all for attending, and I'm very pleased to be here today with you. This gathering is, I guess, all the attendants are interested in blogging and social media role in the Arab Spring, and that's why you all came here today. And as a blogger, I think I can give you a glimpse of the social media, the meaning of social media for a lot of bloggers and cyber citizens, as I say, who were tweeting and blogging and Facebooking about talking about their desire to freedom and dignity and democracy for their countries. And I come from Yemen, which also is witnessing or has been protesting for the past 8 months among the Arab Spring and the Arab revolutionaries that are sweeping the region. But at the beginning, I would like to ask you guys whoever knows about, where Yemen exactly exists, could you raise your hand? You can, thank you. You can see that a little percentage of the attendants know where Yemen does exist in the first place. So now I talk to many people who are really know nothing about this invisible country that is part of the Arab world, but little is said much about this country, and even if I could be wrong, but I could say that almost all of you would be the first time for you to see someone from Yemen right now in front of you, and so I would like to start by giving a small description of Yemen. It's an Arab country that's located at the Arabian Peninsula. It's bordered with Saudi Arabia and Oman and the Red Sea, and it has 25 million of its population. And this country is the poorest Arab country in the Middle East, and it has so many challenges that are really give me a headache whenever I think of how to solve them. And I would like to say that around 67% of Yemen's population are illiterate. And sorry, the female illiteracy rate in Yemen is 67%. So that's put a lot of pressure on me and on other Yemenis, female Yemenis who had the privilege to know how to write, how to read, how to speak English, and to travel, and that was my inner duty to become a blogger and to write and convey a voice from Yemen. And I started blogging at 2010, before the Arab Spring. What motivated me to start blogging was just to write about Yemen. And 2010, at the end of 2010, before the Arab Spring, I was in Denmark to participate in a program for social media. And for 1 month, we had a course, intensive course, about how to blog, how to tweet, how to use social media to express and to make it as one of the tools for social change. And so after that program, I was very obsessed with my blog. And at that moment, the Arab Spring began. And I couldn't help it just to blog about the protests and to post photos, to post videos, to just to say my mind about whatever is happening. And my problem is that my blog was with my name, and I was like brave enough, or I didn't care enough about any threats that I could get, and I posted my photo and my name. And at that moment, I didn't realize the impact that I could have with the international media or with the international audience when they read about what's happening in Yemen. I wrote in English, I posted the photos, the videos, criticized the regime, talked about the taboo that we have always been avoiding and not talking about, which is politics. And suddenly I was a political blogger. But I wasn't, all I wanted to do is to convey what all my people are doing. I wanted to blog about what's happening, and what was happening was this. A clip from Yemen. Almost all the big cities, people have been marching and rallying, protesting non-violently, seeking for freedom and dignity for the country. They demand a modern state and the fall of the regime that's been a dictatorship regime ruling Yemen by one president for over 3 decades, and by all comprehension, that means he's a dictator. And the people are just fed up, and the country is facing immense challenges, and no way that such a president could fix the country and lead it to the safe side, while he's the one who's the most corrupted and leading the country with his lousy leadership to I don't know, like it's a very bleak future for Yemen, and the challenges are like half of the population are at the age of less than 18, and employment rate is 40%, if not more. And you can go to Wikipedia and get the information, but for me, just giving a voice of those people is that what's not portrayed in the international media or that you don't find on Wikipedia is what matters me the most. And the last post I did on my blog is very, very horrible. I would like to ask if anybody who's very sensitive to seeing graphic photos, you may close your eyes for a couple seconds, and I would like to show you some of the photos that are caused by the unbelievable aggression from government forces against peaceful demonstrators. That's my last post. It's no words could describe the pain that Yemen is facing right now. As I'm speaking right now, families are burying their the killed civilians, the killed protesters. In the last couple days, around 80 people were killed when protesters crossed their sit-in square, that's the Change Square. And while they were rallying and chanting, they were faced with open fire and anti-craft weapons and things like that. I don't even know the terminology of all these army weapons that were used against peaceful demonstrators. Amina Fakhri, she's an Egyptian novelist. I quote her when she said, the history will tell that bloggers contributed in spreading information that provoked the Arab Spring. So it was very important to blog about this and just spread the word so the whole international community and all the international public opinion could know about this. Because honestly, I think the international community or governments at the international community are just I'm frustrated with them because no concrete statements against this dictator have been met, and all what we can do just to ask for international public opinions like you guys, just to know about this and know about this invisible country and what they are suffering from. Usually I do better presentations than this, but it's been very emotional 2 days for me as I'm blogging about this, and so forgive me for my shattered thoughts. But what Amina Fakhri said about bloggers contributing to the Arab Spring, does not completely apply to Yemen internet sphere, because Yemen has only 1% internet penetration, which is that's according to the journalism college that's part of BBC Academy. And I'm not really surprised of that when the country has a very high level of illiteracy. So that's very understandable. But the Arab bloggers in general, according to the Technorate blog search engine, reveals that there are over 100 million blogs in cyberspace. And according to Arabic Network for Human Rights Information, which is specialized in freedom of expression on media and internet, says that about 600,000 Arabic blogs have been created since 2004. And even and that's like put a picture of how blogs are very popular in the Arab world, but unfortunately we make, like, generally we don't blog about fashion and beauty and travel. We blog about human rights, about politics, and criticizing our dictators, and that disturbs a lot of dictators, and bloggers have been targeted by government forces around the Arab world, and by Harvard University latest survey says that 7% of Arab bloggers have been arrested, and only over the past year, and 30% of them have been arrested. And once I read this statistic, I was like, that's not true. It's beyond those numbers. I get in contact with a lot of bloggers from Bahrain, from Tunis, from Egypt, from Syria, and we've been in a great contact. And I know exactly that it's beyond this number. And bloggers have been killed in several countries like Syria and Bahrain as well. So bloggers have been, it's been a dangerous job. To blog, it was a matter of life or death, where I envy most of the bloggers in Europe who blog about fashion and food recipe or cuisines, and I envy them. And my goal is one day to be one of the most successful bloggers in fashion. Hopefully when all dictators are tacked out. But dictatorships work in isolating the people and working in just blocking their people from not knowing what's out there and crossing over and getting to know about freedoms, shapes and forms around the world. And I'm not surprised that Yemen is among the poorest, or among the most illiterate, or among the less internet users. It's because our dictator wanted to completely isolate us. And whenever I write in English, I know that I'm crossing over to you guys, to international media, and to just mobilize about what's happening in Yemen and other Arab countries, and hopefully in the long term that could really make a difference. I might not see it today or tomorrow, but I have great hope for what's in the long term. And I urge you to like keep in touch with a lot of bloggers from the from the Middle East and North Africa. Even though every country has its own context, and you have to differentiate between the factors played in each country and not judge the blogging sphere in all the countries from one perspective. But I urge you to keep in touch with those bloggers, because the voice coming from them is mostly the truth. While in those dictatorship regimes, you just hear from governmental officials, and it's a fabricated news that does not really completely convey what's happening on the ground. And hopefully, if I do some change, or I leave today's seminar with something good, is that I urge you to keep in touch with the bloggers and just look at them differently as a source of information other than what's been portrayed in the mainstream media. My last sentence or my last words is I was just speaking with a Danish friend here with Sarah. We were having lunch, and we were talking about very juicy talk, and before we went to the lunch, we walked around in the library, and I saw you all like reading about politics and like really studying hard. And I just told her that it's so interesting that here you study politics in libraries, but in Yemen we study politics on the streets. And thank you.